Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics, to another mini episode. Since I just uploaded the first mini episode, which is based on point of view from Dragons of Autumn Twilight, chapters 1 through 5, I thought that I would upload a second point of view one from the same book, just through chapters 6 through 10. Since we did go back and revisit it and discuss point of view, I thought it'd be really good to do as another mini episode. So, hope that you enjoy this section from my previous lesson, and let's get into it. Alright, next thing I want to discuss is to go back and take a second look at point of view. Because as I was reading, I realized that the point of view is not as clear-cut as I made it out to be last episode. Because to me, I kept wondering, is this really limited? Is it not? Is it possibly omniscient? And I kept going back and forth, and I had to really think about it. And I might not be right. I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter as well. I'd really like you to help me out. But point of view is one of the most important aspects of a book because it defines what you get as a reader. What information you're allowed to have. What point of view are we going to have? What kind of thoughts and feelings are we going to have? Whose character are we going to get? So in this case, a lot of times it's Tanis. Not all the time. Obviously, we have like the switching and things like that, but a lot of times we're coming from Tanis's point of view. So that is important to know what information he's willing to give us, what he sees, what he notices, what he thinks about is everything that funnels the story to us. So it is very important to try and think of what the point of view is as a writer as well as a reader on both aspects. So let me see what I've got on my notes here that I wanted to mention. So this one being so hard to place, I find it interesting how they kind of made it ambiguous to what it could be. But as I thought about it and as I went through the book on these chapters, I decided to just really think about it, take in all the options. I've cataloged in my notes exactly when we switch, when we don't switch, whose perspective it is most of the time. And I've decided that I do think it is limited. At times I do wonder if it was omniscient because we do have the switching so often that I kind of second-guessed myself. But in the end, I decided that it is still limited because we are 90% of the time from Tanis's point of view. So 90% of the time, we see Tanis's thoughts. We see what he's doing. We see what he is seeing versus other characters. We do switch to those other characters, and we do have kind of an omniscient narrator at the beginning of a lot of the chapters. But most of the time, it's coming from Tanis, and it does feel, for the most part, like Tanis's thoughts and feelings are more embedded in the text when we're from his point of view than an omniscient narrator. We do come across with how he's thinking and how he's feeling in his words, and his actions are being motivated by his thoughts and feelings. So I will say that I still think it is limited. But it's still tricky. As we continue to read, as we continue to discuss it, maybe we will decide on that it is omniscient. But we'll have to see. So don't worry, we will pin it down together. We'll work on it. We will think of what it is. This first book is just really tricky on deciding what point of view it is. It's not so clear-cut as some other ones like Harry Potter, which is clearly a limited one because we only see Harry's point of view. Or something like a first person like Twilight or any of those other books that are first person. So just go ahead, keep it in mind as we keep reading, decide what you think, let me know. We can talk about it again if we feel like we need to, because it is so important. And I also believe that it is important with this text to have the more ambiguous, is that the way you'd say it? Ambiguous, the ambiguity of the point of view, because we have the little details that come from the other characters other than Tanis. We see a little bit of Tas. We see the characterization of a little bit of Strum and a little bit of Goldmoon. And it really helps us build mysteries because we don't always see the same things. We don't hear all the same conversations. As well as it gives us more knowledge in some aspects because we can switch between these different things. We build characterization because we switch between these different characters. And there's so many characters that it is necessary that we kind of coalesce them all together and not just put one perspective like it would be in hard, limited, and a first-person narrative. So Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman did do a really excellent job, not only with switching between the point of views, but also picking the correct amount of switching between them and getting that smoothly done, so that way it will work very well for our narrative here. But it is also good that we keep Tanis as our mostly focused on, at least at the moment. There might change, but Tanis is mostly the person that we're focused on because it keeps us grounded. We keep coming back to the same thing, and we keep understanding that this is our point of origin. Tanis is the main thing holding us grounded, so we know where we're going and what we're doing. The main way that we see us progress, so that we were not lost. We're not jumping here and there and there and there, back and forth, back and forth. We see Strum, we see Tanis, we see Strum. That would make us go crazy trying to keep up with whose point of view are we looking from. Whose point of view is telling us these things? What kind of thoughts are we hearing from which character? Where are we coming from? So we always come back to Tanis. And that's another reason why I think it's limited, because we keep him not only 90% of the time, but we don't switch between him and somebody else constantly. When it goes to Tass, we have a little section that is just Tass, so we know clearly who it is. We have a clear Raslin point of view. We have a clear point of view of when it's Strum, when it's Gold Moon. We have these clear sections and these clear signifiers, so that way we don't get lost in having too many characters trying to think and have the narrator trying to tell us too many things at one time. So, again, we decide to change our minds or whatever else, that is okay, but I felt like it needed a little bit more of a reworking, a little bit more depth, a little bit more of a pinpoint on why I thought it was limited, since I read it some more and I almost had some doubts. So hopefully that cleared up a bit for you as well, revisiting it and deciding what we thought. Please leave any comments, thoughts, feelings down below. I would really like to know if you agree with me, disagree with me, and why.